finish up discussing Piaget by talking about contributions and criticisms of Piaget's theory. So there are several implications of Piaget's theory that can be used to actually foster cognitive development, particularly when it comes to education. First, teachers can work to create environments where children can actively discover how the world works. So giving them lots of opportunities to be their little active scientist selves and explore their environment and learn through play would be really helpful. Second, children profit from experience only when they interpret this experience with their current cognitive structures. So helping children and giving them experiences that are slightly ahead of that child's current stage can be really helpful in advancing those cognitive structures, helping them assimilate, helping them accommodate. If they're assimilating information into a cognitive structure that's not quite right, giving them gentle guidance on how to properly accommodate that. For example, that animal does look like a horse, but it's got black and white stripes, so that's actually called a zebra. Finally, cognitive growth can best be facilitated when teachers encourage children to look at the consistency of their thinking and sort out those inconsistencies. So helping children actively discover inconsistencies in their own thinking. That can also be really helpful. So all of these are contributions of Piaget's theory, and they show how we can take what Piaget gave us and really apply it to teaching children. But there are also some criticisms of Piaget's theory. I know I've said this before, but I can't say it enough. Piaget's theory really underestimates the cognitive competency of infants and young children. And actually, Piaget's theory overestimates the cognitive competency in adolescents. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go throughout the class. Piaget's theory is also really vague with respect to processes and mechanisms of change. For example, from 2 to 7, we know that that's pre-operations. But then how does the child move on to the next stage? Is it that they blow the candles out on their birthday cake when they turn 7 or when they turn 8 and now all of a sudden they're in the next stage? And then finally, some other criticisms, Piaget's stage model, it doesn't really account for variability in children's performance. So it doesn't account for why do we see that some children are a little bit ahead when it comes to cognitive development versus others. So what we know is that cognitive development isn't really stage-like. There is some gradual, continuous aspects to cognitive development, and there's no room for that in Piaget's theory. And then the last criticism of his theory is that it undervalues the influence of the sociocultural environment on cognitive development. Essentially, Piaget's theory suggests that basically individuals kind of just develop cognitively, at least in a vacuum, that those contextual experiences that you have are not going to play a big role in terms of cognitive development.